If you look past at the incidents we've had, so things like the TN hack or the telecom hack, incidents like these show us that major corporations, even those with dedicated IT teams, are vulnerable if cybersecurity isn't prioritized at all levels. So if we look at the banking sector, I think they are better regulated in terms of cybersecurity, but it doesn't mean that we don't have more to do. So cybersecurity is an evolving field, and there's always more that we need to catch up with. Hackers are evolving, so we must also evolve. And it's not just the financial institutions. So companies big and small are at risk. We only hear about the large breaches, in the past, but many small companies in Namibia are also hacked, and they choose not to go public with the information due to reputational damage. So there's a lot to do in terms of cybersecurity in Namibia still for companies of all, in all industries.
How could improved cybersecurity standards protect consumers and investors in Namibia?
Strong standards create a safety net. Take a consumer example. Say, for example, if your bank or an insurer or someone holding your personal information gets hacked and your personal details are leaked, attackers might grab this and then they can combine it with other information that's available about you. So, for example, information on your social media profile. And then what they can do is target you specifically. So they can call you and have all of this information about you, so they can pretend to be someone official, and they can socially manipulate you for an outcome. So, for example, you've won a prize, or, for example, your bank cards are expiring. If we have improved cybersecurity standards, things like this will happen less often. So we will have more checks and balances and better systems in place to prevent the leaking of data and prevent things like this happening to you as a consumer. In terms of investors, the risks there are a lot around reputational and financial damage. So as an investor in a company and the company gets hacked, there's of course that reputational damage and financial damage that is an effect for me. Institutions that follow proper cybersecurity standards are less likely to suffer these breaches, and therefore there's more protection for the investor value.
So what steps should financial institutions in Namibia take right now to strengthen their cybersecurity? Don't
wait for government to regulate you. And I, again, as in question one, would extend this further than just the financial institutions. So look at all of the businesses. Don't wait for government to regulate you. Your business could be a target for an attack. And this could result in things like customer data lost, but it could also result in things like ransomware, your systems being held for ransom. So it affects all businesses. It's not just financial institutions. And so the first thing I would say is train your staff. So 95% of attacks actually have a human interaction. So we can't just rely on strong firewalls and IT infrastructure to protect the business. It's actually very often that those things are in place, but the weakest link is your staff. So if you train your staff, they can do things like identify phishing emails when they come in, set strong passwords, do multiple factor authentication. They will start thinking from a cybersecurity kind of a mindset and understand how they can protect the business. If we look at it, 2/3 of ransomware attacks come through phishing emails. So this is a very concerning statistic. And ransomware is one of the most common attacks in Africa at the moment. I would say this for me is a very easy practical first step to train your staff.
Does Namibia has that technical skills and capacity locally to implement such a framework?
Yes and no. Namibia does have a strong base of capable IT companies and professionals. We also have a very strong youth coming out of NAS that are very, very excited about cybersecurity and passionate about learning. But I must say our cybersecurity-specific expertise in Namibia is still developing. We need more investment in local training and upskilling from things like ethical hacking, incident response, forensics. But that said, we can take those foundational steps like, within the companies, just improving the passwords, patching the systems, running awareness programs. These things are entirely within reach with the local expertise we have in Namibia. And outside of that, we can continually upskill and reach out and work with foreign partners to upskill our people locally.
And what role should the Bank of Namibia and regulators play in shaping the cybersecurity landscape going forward?
So ideally, they should take a leadership role. They should set a good baseline, which requires a standard, broad set of cybersecurity measures. Such things as we see in the South Africa policy, the South Africa law that's come in for financial institutions. So what is covered in that law is very extensive and broad and sets a very, very good standard of how businesses can protect themselves. So it almost creates a blueprint for what we should look at. And the standard, I would say, if I refer to it again, it's really good in a way that it's also proportional to the size of the company. So if you are a very big company, you can apply more measures. But even small companies are required to apply measures that are proportional to their size. So things like prevention, things like what to do in the when an attack is happening, how to respond after the attack has happened, because it's more understandable that these days it's not if an attack will happen, but it's when an attack will happen. So we need to think about how we come back from an attack, the policies we set inside our company, how we train our staff, etc. So if the Bank of Namibia could take the leadership role in setting a very, very good baseline or guideline or blueprint for what businesses should do, this would go a very far way. It would make it mandatory, which would be very good, because that would also protect consumers, right? Businesses need to protect themselves, but they also need to protect consumers. And if the Bank of Namibia were to set these guidelines, I think it would go a long way in protecting all people and businesses and investors and different parties in Namibia.
And do you have anything else to say to the Namibians?
My message to Namibians would be, to the general public, would be when someone calls you and you think it's a scam. Typically, the things that will give away the identity of the scammer or the fact that it is a scam, is they will play on your emotions. So they will make you happy. They will say you've won a prize, and because you're happy, you don't think clearly. Or they will scare you. For example, something like some money has gone missing from your bank account. Let me help you close your bank account, for example. So they scare you. It's either happy or sad, and with these happy or sad emotions, you don't think clearly, and then they put you under pressure, and then you act, and you give away your private information that they can then use to steal from you. So, yes, my message would be, if you get a phone call, if you get a message, and it feels off, someone's trying to play on your emotions, put you under pressure, then stop, say thank you, hang up, and verify. Call your bank back directly using the numbers available on their website, for example.